I think last time I looked, I think we had done 26 different LEs for Jason last year.
Oh my God. He really is texting you all the time.
I'm sitting in my studio now, and I've got a box, and he's like, "Man, when do I get new stuff?" I'm like, "I'm not sending it to you."
Mike, thanks for joining us today. How's everything going?
It's good, man. Thanks, guys. Great to be here, and yeah, super excited to talk a little golf footwear with you guys.
Yeah, we are super excited as well. Obviously, to our listeners, you're the first person that we've had from a golf footwear brand on the show. So we're really excited to chat all things Payntr Golf, but also talk the bigger sphere of golf footwear. But for anyone who's listening and not familiar with you, could you tell us who you are, what you do at Payntr, and what's your background like?
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Glancy. I'm the creative director at Payntr Golf, also a co-founder. And I think I don't want to date myself too much, but kind of going back, I played soccer and lacrosse in college, didn't play golf, but was also an art major, and always loved building. I had my lacrosse coach was coach at our college for 40 years, and he never had a single art major. So I was the first one in 40 years. So pretty unique. But for me, sports and art has always been a really passion of mine. And so I right out of school, I got a job at Reebok as an intern. That lasted for only about a month, and I got offered a full-time job. And I started in basketball as a designer, as a footwear designer. I was technically a tech pack technician. I laugh about that. It was the senior designers giving me a sketch on a napkin, and I was supposed to simply show the views of what that would look like, and then they could send it to the factory. So I kind of cut my teeth in that, looking at other people's designs and kind of teching it out for them. But that was about a year, and then I transferred over into the cleated division at Reebok. And at the time, Reebok was crushing it in cleated. We had every major sporting team event. So it was NFL, Major League Baseball, Major League Lacrosse, which is really cool. And that's really where I started. I was at Reebok for 10 years, all in cleated, doing anything with a cleat, football, baseball, lacrosse, anything. But at the time, Reebok didn't have any golf. They didn't have a golf division.
Yeah.
So after Reebok, I got recruited to Under Armour and spent 10 years at Under Armour, headed up their cleated division there. And kind of 4 or 5 years into my journey at Reebok, they signed Jordan Spieth. Or at Under Armour, signed Jordan Spieth. And I think no one thought, Jordan was obviously coming out of school, was hugely decorated, but no one thought he was going to be Jordan Spieth and so quickly. And so it's funny, if you look back, his first, I believe, 2 tournaments wearing Under Armour apparel, he's wearing FootJoy shoes. And Under Armour didn't have any footwear. We were scrambling to try and get him a new, kind of a shoe that he could wear. But the tooling, the uppers, nothing existed. So we hurry up offense, took about 4 months, and we got Jordan in shoes. And obviously he blew up after that. And so with that, we put in Under Armour put in a footwear division. I was running the design side. Mike Forsey, my partner at Payntr, was brought in, industry vet, to run the strategy and the marketing and the sales side. And we did that for 6 years. And then this unbelievable opportunity with Payntr Golf came, and we jumped ship and kind of rest is history. We've been doing that for the last almost 5 years now.
So you've been in this essentially since out of college.
Yeah, I've been in the performance footwear industry literally from day one. I right out of school, I think there was maybe a month-long break before my intern started at Reebok. So it's been it's some serious years.
That has to make you one of the most successful art majors coming out of college, honestly.
I would think so. And it's funny. So my father was a glass artist and a career glass artist. Went to Rhode Island School of Design and worked under Dale Chihuly, who is this famous glass artist in the glass world. And, but he never had a boss. He was always his own boss. And so when I pursued the art industry, he couldn't believe that I'd have bosses and was corporate. And so he could not understand that part of it. But no, it still allowed me to be super creative. But, there's certainly hurdles that come from big corporate America as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think none of our dads at this point understand any of the jobs that we're doing, right? I
Very
think that
fair.
kind of falls
Yep,
in
very fair.
line.
Yep.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit towards where you're at now, Payntr Golf. For those who are unfamiliar or uninitiated with the brand, can you give us the quick like elevator pitch on Payntr Golf?
Yeah, absolutely. So Payntr, the brand, was founded in '96 in was founded in 2016 in England, just outside of England in Leeds. And so it was founded with three generations of cricketers. So a grandfather, father, the son, David Payntr, who's also a co-founder of Payntr Golf. They were all professional cricketers, and David Payntr felt underprivileged, underserved when it came to footwear in the cricket space. And so he had an idea around what a cricket shoe would look like and how that could enhance cricketers over in England. And he did that for 4 or 5 years, and I think was really successful with that. Created the mark, created a brand over there. But there's something really interesting with, especially in the UK, there's a lot of cricketers that also play golf. And David didn't have a golf background, didn't really have any links to golf footwear. So he actually reached out to Mike Forsey on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I have Payntr brand. It just does cricket. We're really small, but we have this appetite to potentially do golf as well." And with that, David and Mike talked and said, "Hey, Mike, you can run the golf side. I'll continue running the cricket side." And that's when I got involved, and kind of again, rest is history from that. So yeah, we're our roots from the brand, the Payntr brand side is rooted in the UK, and Payntr Golf is based here in Portland, Oregon, with our headquarters, and it's been an absolute wild ride over the last 4 years. We've been around for 4 years. We've been selling product for 3 years, and it's just been a really great rocket ship over that time.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you said a lot of cricket players are naturally golfers. I had never made that correlation into those swings being somewhat similar at all.
Yeah.
Are you able to divulge David's handicap at all? Has he translated into a good golfer, or is he
so
still
he's not bad, I
a great
think.
cricket player?
I think David and I are pretty similar. So Mike Forsey is an obnoxious scratch. And as the elder statesman of the Payntr Golf team, he lets us know that as well, and he can still hit a far ball too. So he's scratch. David and I are non-golfing. We didn't do that as a coming up. So he's a cricketer, myself, lacrosse being my main sport. But we do all right. We're athletes where we think of Mike Forsey as the golfer within the group.
And Mike's in Portland, right?
Mike's based in Portland and runs our center out through strategy and marketing and sales through that with the team there. And then I'm based in Boston that run our design center here.
I was going to say, being a scratch golfer in the PNW looks so different than a scratch golfer out here in the desert.
That is true.
You're playing mud balls, you're hitting ball first, you're lift and replace. It's a whole different game essentially out there.
Yeah, we definitely, Mike definitely wear tests our waterproofing for sure over there, and especially over here. A lot of screen golf from me in Boston right now. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, obviously, we're super excited to have you on. We're going to have some burning questions because we do have someone who is an expert in the field. But before we jump into those, we're going to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Devro Golf. This episode of Must Play is brought to you by Devro Golf and their brand new Spring 26 release dubbed the Westward Collection. If your golf wardrobe needs a reset, then this is the time to act. The Westward Collection brings clean, Southwest-inspired knit polos and lightweight layers that are going to work on the course, at the range, or even wherever you're heading after your round. And don't sleep on the accessories either. Devro's hats and leather head covers are some of the best around. They're the kind that instantly upgrade any bag or outfit. Also, their shirts, they feel incredible without feeling sloppy. And the socks are just all day comfortable, whether you're walking 18 or just walking your dog. It's a new season. It's time for a new direction. The Westward Collection from Devro Golf over on devrogolf.com. Use code FAIRWAGERS20 to always get 20% off your orders. We'll see you out there. All right, Mike. So we have some burning footwear questions, more specifically about golf. So we're going to hop into these. Just give us we just want to pick your brain and hear it from a subject matter expert.
Sure.
Jump into the first one here. So on our podcast, we've talked a handful of times about planning 4-day, 3-night golf trips with our buddies who are, let's be honest, in their 30s or even 40s. So for the sake of our bodies, what are the Payntr golf shoes that we need to be packing for these trips? And should people be packing multiple pairs of the same shoe, different shoes? Like, what do you think when it comes to packing footwear for golf trips?
Yeah, great question. And so, and we get asked this a lot. And I kind of think back to myself too, is I think it all depends on like who you're playing with, how much money's involved, because it's a funny thing, if I'm just having fun with some buddies, I'll throw on our spike list, throw on our match day, which is our top of the line killer spikeless shoe. But if I'm really looking to hopefully take a couple bucks from the buddies, I'm going to throw some pants on. I'm going to throw that 87 SC on, which is Jason Day's signature shoe. That's our spiked model. That is kind of our tip of spear. That's a killer shoe. So those are probably two of my favorites. But also, kind of depending on your style, we've got a killer moving day gator, which Jason wore at the Masters last year, and that shoe is just totally blown up for us. It's a little bit more stylized with some cool gator prints. So that's a huge one. And our whole new Sport Classic range, which is a really cool on the course, off the course kind of vibe. A little bit more pattern pieces, some all over leathers. Great in the grill room after a good 9, good 18. So yeah, a couple good choices, but yeah, I'm all about bringing a couple pairs of shoes depending on the outfits, depending on who you're playing, and conditions obviously mean a lot as well.
I have a question for you. We talk about superstitions quite a bit on this pod, and if you have a really good round in one of those pairs, are you running it back or are you alternating?
I love it. I'm running it back, but I'm never running it back 3 times.
Oh, okay.
So then it's a little crazy. Then it's house money. But yeah, you play well, and we try and get out to with the company being based in Portland. We try and get out to Bandon every year and just kind of recharge. And so those can be some long 36-hole days. And so I'll run it back if things are feeling good. But if you need to pivot, it's always good to have that spare in the bag as well.
Yeah,
for sure. The note about Bandon actually perfectly leads into this next question here, which is waterproof versus water resistant, which is definitely needed up in the Pacific Northwest. But are there any sacrifices that you guys make when you're planning to make a shoe fully waterproof versus water resistant? And like, does that design choice come in from the start? And like that, when you start building the shoe, is that how you're building it in mind, or does that kind of develop as the time goes on?
Yeah, great question. So for Payntr Golf, 95% of all of our shoes are fully waterproof. And so that's a conscious choice that we've made. We're a premium brand. If someone's, going out paying $160, $200, we want to make sure that you have the, fully waterproof shoe. So it's going to perform from the beginning to the end. Our only exceptions are our full textile shoes. And so those are very hard to create entirely waterproof without adding like extra layers on the top, like plastic coatings. So for us to compromise on the fit and the function by adding some of those to make it really rigid, we didn't want to do that. And so we offer some textile shoes that are great for summer, great for Arizona and those really climb weathers where it's really dry. But we're really proud that 95% of all of our shoes are fully waterproof because, we know golf is a little game about inches. And the minute your foot gets wet, that disassociation of the foot inside the shoe can move, can pivot. If you're off by a couple of degrees, especially on a drive, we know how detrimental that can be. And so we're really proud that that we offer that waterproof, with virtually every shoe that we make. And we see it as a huge benefit from Payntr and having that confidence as a consumer to buy us when it comes to waterproofing, because we look at kind of the hierarchy of what people look at when they purchase shoes. Comfort is king. Comfort is number 1. Traction is number 2, and waterproofing is actually number 3. And that's not just us. That's kind of all consumers that are looking at golf product. So huge importance on all 3 of those kind of top buying decisions.
Are those 3 excluding style? Or
no,
where does style fit in that?
Yeah, style and design would be number 4.
Really? So you guys see it all the way down at 4?
Yeah, and so there's we look at those buying decisions that consumers are having. It's not just one. They're looking to making sure it clicks all 4 of those boxes. But especially with us being a very premium brand, we're really designing product as equipment versus as footwear. I think that's where we found some really great white space and some traction is I think the consumers feel when they're putting a Payntr shoe on, they're going to be able to perform better than they were in something else. And so, but no, of course, I mean, style is super important. But all of those non-negotiables where traction, waterproofing, comfort, like those are king, and style's right up there as well. I mean, those top 4, then it's color and materials and leather versus synthetic. Those are definitely a lot lower on the list.
Okay. Well, I think it's funny you say that because your order is my order. I 100% agree with you.
Perfect.
TJ's order is a little different, and I don't want to blow him up here, but he collects shoes like trophies. Like he's got a closet full off camera here.
Yeah. We get it.
I may buy 1 or 2 pairs for as long as I can until they're ruined kind of guy, because my priorities are what you described. I want function, number 1. Like I am trying to go out there and shoot a score. That's like my MO with shoes. If I feel more traction, more comfort, etc., style for me is like probably number 4. I don't want to speak for TJ, but I know he is more of a shoe guy than I am. So he's got more of an eye for sometimes those little things that I might glance over because I'm just about what's this going to do to me on the course.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I probably skew the other way because my game can only get so good and I can only care so much about shooting a good score because a good score for me is in the low 90s, right? So I have to care at least about how I look. It's the only way I can sometimes bring myself up when I am shooting in the hundreds is at the end of the day, I can say, at least I looked good and had fun with my friends today.
And hugely important. And I think you're seeing too is kind of when we started Payntr Golf, we had 1 shoe. And so those non-negotiables, like that was important. Like, we're gonna own traction, we're gonna own comfort, we're gonna own waterproofing, and we're gonna make sure a shoe looks good. And now as we've grown, and guys like Jason, we obviously know like Jason has kind of reinvented what style looks like on the course, especially from what he was wearing before to how he looks now. And so we have these designated buckets where it's very performance based, then it's very classic looking. And now we have this whole sport line that kind of falls in between, which we call reserve. And so we have these kind of cool buckets that caters to everyone. And so we have a whole section where style is super, super important. I would almost slide this up here. We have non-negotiables. Our shoes will always fit, always be comfortable. The traction will always be top of the tier. We have repulsion plate and everything. Those are always going to be there. But then, we've definitely been a lot more conscious on certain products that are a little bit more stylized, have a little bit more of that lifestyle vibe. Material choices that we make, a little bit more color in some of the performance stuff, and so we're kind of we're notching a lot of those different wants from a lot of different consumers, and I think that's why we're on this really great rise right now because there's a little bit for everyone, and we haven't found a golfer that comes to our site and it's like I just can't find anything for me. There's a little bit for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So speaking of different shoes for different scenarios and what people are looking for. Question came up, should we be practicing in the same shoes that we plan on playing on if we're hitting off of mats? Like, do we need to be potentially saving the mileage on our nicer shoes for just our rounds and grass ranges? Or do we for sure need to wear nice spiked shoes when we're practicing off of mats?
Great question. And I go back to a funny story that actually when I was at Under Armour and was meeting Maverick McNeely for the first time. And we were talking about that exactly. And he said, at his time, he would go play mini golf with his girlfriend. And he would put on his golf shoes because no matter what he did, he always wanted it to feel like he was doing his job and his craft. And so, as a young designer, hearing that from Mav, I thought that was great. And so, I think it all depends. But I think if it's something that's really looking for game enhancement and game engagement, then absolutely. Like it of course, the conditions on a mat is very consistent. but making sure that your footwork's correct and making sure that you still can dig into, maybe you're not going to Topgolf to put on cleats, but other than that, like if you're grinding on the mat, on the range, then yeah, I think absolutely it can only help.
Yeah, I'm a huge you practice like you play type guy. So knowing how my foot feels in that shoe versus like, whether I'm wearing a different kicking around shoe or even something that's like spikeless and I usually play in something that's spiked, like that little weird tweaked feeling of how my shoe feels in the middle of a swing and where my pressure is changes from spiked to spikeless. So I think I'm in the camp of doing that, but we at least had to ask the question,
Yeah. No, it's a good question. And especially like if you think of a running shoe. So a running shoe is everything is kind of vertical. And so, but it doesn't have that lateral side support. And golf, it's so important. So that rollover, if you're not wearing a golf shoe, if you're not wearing a shoe like a training shoe that has some support, you start to really feel that, and it can slightly affect that transition that you have, especially as a right-handed golfer on that lead foot on the left. Even it's fun. Like, so we work with a lot of kind of foot scientists and foot doctors, and one of the first things that they do is they always have their new clients golf barefoot. Like number one, that's the first thing, and just to start to see what the foot does during swing. That the barefoot is the most vulnerable way. You clearly don't have much traction. You have no support, but it's really important to see what the foot does. And then once they start to understand what the foot does, then they put on footwear that's going to cater to that. And so a lot of the science that we've seen is based on seeing what the foot does totally barefoot, and then understanding how our footwear can enhance that. Because we don't want to restrict the foot. That's a huge misconception that people have, is that shoes should be so tight, that should be locked down. They should keep you locked in place. But if your footwork isn't working naturally, then then you don't have that really that kind of perfect swing that should help. They're not everything's not working in conjunction with each other. And so making sure that the shoe is working really naturally with your foot is super important, and that's how we kind of design and develop our product.
Yeah, I love that. And then lastly here for our burning questions, this question came from one of our followers in our The Turn broadcast channel over on Instagram. They asked, how often should somebody be replacing the spikes on their shoes, and why don't golf shoes just come with a second set of replacement spikes?
Another good question. Should I put my owner of a footwear company hat on?
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, because money, but sure,
No. So great question. And so one of the big benefits, and I think that there's a correlation question to that about spiked and spikeless as well. And so obviously the benefit of a spiked golf shoe is the fact that you can change out that spike and that receptacle. And typically in spiked golf shoes, those spikes are what is making contact with the ground first. They're the longest and it's making contact with the ground first. And those points are wearing quickly or fast, typically faster than the secondary lugs.
Right.
And so, I think, again, it's personal preference, but it's something that's pretty noticeable when you start to see those secondary, those lugs wearing down. Then it's always good to replace your spikes. And if you ask a tour guy, they're replacing their spikes every 3 rounds.
Wow.
If you ask a layman that's out there golfing on the weekends, it's once or twice a year. But yeah, so it's pretty incredible what the tour guys do. We're super close with the team of Soft Spike, and man, they've got a full-time job replacing all those cleats. Every other tournament, every three tournaments or so. So so that's a kind of it's a bit of a roundabout way to answer a question, but yeah, you don't want it to run off, because again, traction for us is really important, and we want it as enhanced as possible. So once you start to see some wear, and just depending on how much you play, maybe it's every 20 rounds. Is typically a good place to start.
Okay, I like that. I think that's appropriate for most people, like you said. I think that's for a lot of people that's once or twice a year. Depending.
And I think with spikeless is something that we're really proud about. when you flip over our bottoms, the traction is virtually identical between our spike product and our spikeless. It's just on our spike product, you have your spike, and with the spikeless, we've replaced where those spikes are with secondary traction. And for us, you see a lot of our competition out there. The spikeless product is typically rubber, and rubber wears a lot faster. It's a lot heavier, but wears a lot faster than TPU. And so all of our spike product is all TPU. TPU wears a lot. It's a lot lighter, which is great, but it also wears a lot better than rubber does. And I think the biggest area of where traction, it wears the most is just honestly to and from. It's in the parking lot. It's walking on the car paths. That interaction on hard surfaces. That's where you get most of your wear and tear.
That's what I was going to say, is that I remember like back when metal spikes were even a thing. By the way, I miss the sound of metal spikes.
No, that's the best. That's like the best. I agree.
That's like ASMR thing right there.
That's the best.
Yeah. But like walking on the soft spikes on the parking lot, the cart path and everything else, for a long time with a couple of buddies that are like really good golfers, they would just carry their shoes essentially, right? In their bag. And the second they got to the range or wherever, they would put them on. And I don't think I ever noticed how much longer theirs were lasting than mine, but I just remember always having issues and they didn't as much. And I put it together finally. I was like, oh, this does kill the spikes pretty fast.
It can crush. It can crush them. And even just, you're in a cart and dragging your feet, in the cart can wear it. And normal, even in the sand, or if you're not in that perfectly plush fairway, then all those different conditions can wear. And honestly, once those cleats start to wear, it actually can start to affect your traction as well. And so,
right,
if we're out there to trying to get our best score, get the best next shot, making sure your traction still is robust and not too worn is best.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about those guys who are replacing him every 3 rounds, that current roster of athletes that you guys have going on. So last year, huge splash with the addition of Jason Day, and then last month announcing 3 new athletes in Minwoo Lee, Sam Burns, and Isaiah Salinda. How are these guys shaping the next evolution of the footwear lineup for Payntr? Like, who's very hands-on to work with? Like, if you could distill each of them into a gosh, I'm losing the word right now, but what's the thing that they put in like the yearbook for like best dressed? And
superlatives.
The superlatives.
Superlatives. Yes. If you could give us like a superlative for each of the different 4 athletes that you guys work with, what would those be?
I like it. I like that. So I will. So thank you. Yes, it's been a pretty incredible last 3 or 4 months. I will tease that to discerning eyes potentially this week at Pebble. There's quite a bit more Payntr Golf out there, which is fun. It's exciting.
Is that stuff that's been in the works, or is this starting to come because you're starting to see guys like Justin Rose winning in the shoes, and he's technically not even an athlete on the roster?
Yeah, all of the above, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's a tight fraternity for sure. And I think we've got a cool mark. We've got some great style. We've got some really good designs. We've got some great champions of our product too. But so yeah, it is pretty wild, the amount of people. It's 10 plus people that all have Payntr Golf products right now on tour, that are testing it, that are not part of that core group of guys.
Right.
Which is fun. But back to the superlatives. I love that. And I think, one of the things that we're really proud of is we haven't yet to reach out to a single golfer. All of this is them golfers, an agent or them through a friend coming to us and say, hey, I'd love to try out what you guys are doing. And so to us, there's a validation there for sure. And then the fact that they stick with us, and what that relationship going forward looks like is awesome. And I think for us, one of the things and one of the appeals is Mike and I, we've worked at every big brand imaginable, between Nike, Under Armour, Reebok, FootJoy, literally every big brand in the golf space. And so we know that slog of from as designer, pen hits paper, 18 months later, the shoe arrives.
Yeah.
Payntr Golf, we operate in about 8 months. And that is, we're lean. We don't compromise on the testing part of it. We don't compromise on all the important stuff. Where we do, we can make decisions really quickly. And what that has benefited us is we almost create product in real time, and we allow our athletes to test that product in real time. And we also don't hide it. We're proud of what we're doing. We're proud to give Jason Day a prototype shoe. He comes to me, can I wear this? I said, absolutely. He's like, do we want people to see that I'm wearing it? We want people to see that I'm wearing a prototype? I said, absolutely. We have nothing to hide. Our technology is top of line. Our innovation is top of line, and we're not afraid to show it. And we want that experience of testing and wear testing product. We want the consumers to be able to see that because we're proud of that. Yeah. And so I think when we talk back to superlatives, Jason kind of epitomizes that athlete who I go back to when Mike and I first met Jason. We met him at Pebble in this tiny little room. I think his agent gave us 15 minutes. Payntr Golf, who's Payntr Golf? But, we've been in the industry, so we got the call. And Jason was with us for an hour and a half. He called about 10 minutes later once he left, and he said, I think I just went to shoe school. Like that was unbelievable. And he's like, I never thought I wanted to design a shoe. I never thought that was something that would really interest me. Now, him and I talk literally every 2 or 3 days, non-tournament time play, about anything from a paint treatment he saw on a car, or Ellie's cool handbag that he got with a gator print, and could we make a shoe out of that? Or a French slipper that he's wearing that has a really cool treatment or pattern or print. And so it's really fun to kind of use these guys as our muse to create product in real time, to test product in real time, to validate that product with the best players in the world. And it gives the confidence the consumers that are buying Payntr Golf. It was worn and tested by the best players in the world to get to a point. When you go to Dick's Sporting Goods or Galaxy or PGA Tour Superstore, you're getting a shoe that our guys have worn and tested over and over and over again. And so have that confidence that you're buying something that's totally killer and game enhancing. So Jason's great, and same with Min. So been working with Min for almost a year. And what's really unique about that is, like every athlete has different foot shapes. They all have different wants. And at Payntr, we don't make, for our guys, like we don't simply just take a stock shoe. There's things that we do to it just that can cater and fit perfectly to them. And so we, Min has a unique size foot on a unique shaped foot. And so everything that we did, we really wanted it to fit him perfectly, and from his style, from his look, to a little bit, even when you hold up his shoe versus Jason's shoe, it's a little bit more dress shoe, it's a little bit more pointed. I think unanimously the number one thing for golfers is sure, how's the shoe look on the side is good, but man, all I do is look down at my shoe. And you want this idea of zero distractions. You don't want this shoe to be like, I can't even see the ball because I'm just staring at the toe of my shoe or material of the shoe. And so that was really, really important to Min, is what does the shoe look like when I'm looking down at my feet, especially at putting, and do I feel comfortable? Again, we talk about like zero distractions. We don't want, the best thing for us is our guys to say, hey, I didn't feel the shoes. I didn't think about the shoes. I can just concentrate on golf because there's so many things that can go wrong with that. So we want them focusing on that. So Min's been great with that. Sam Burns, our relationship has just started, but it's really cool to kind of hear his likes and what he's looking for his product. And Isaiah the same way. Like the kid's got style, and so we're doing some really fun things with him. And you're going to see across the board at big tournaments, at majors, all of those guys are getting unique things, from kind of player LEs to some really cool stuff. Even what we did with Rosie at Ryder Cup, and there's some wild stuff coming. But all of them are deeply in part of the process. And I think it's a benefit to us and to them to be able to put their own stamp on things, and so it feels real authentic and real to them. And it's just a really cool way that they can show their style and expression, but it's still rooted in all of our cool storytelling and tech and innovation.
It's funny that you talk about like player editions and stuff like that, because I traditionally have been like a basketball footwear guy for years.
Yeah.
Like Jordan's done that for years, like dating back to like the late 90s, where it's like, oh, like players had limited edition versions that only they could get.
Yep.
And it's funny that it took golf, God, 20 plus years to lean into the idea of scarcity and limited editions for players and models for the public to actually realize like, oh, people will spend top dollar to get these, and there's a whole secondary market. But it's cool to see that you guys are leaning into that this year and going to give each of these guys some of their own individual models that people will obviously create more marketing around and more excitement around for the brand as well.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the really important things for us was hey, we're creating these kind of one of one type shoes for our guys. But man, the amount of the chatter that we get for like, oh, I wish I could buy that. And
Yes.
so you're going to see stuff that both Min and a little teaser that Min and Jason are going to wear at Augusta. That day you'll be able to buy on paintrgolf.com.
Very cool.
So,
nice.
so that
Very
and it
cool.
really it even started with our gator that Jason wore on Thursday at Augusta last year. And that was just a fun thing that we did with him, and that shoe just blew up. And when I talk about like close to market, is we were able to deliver that shoe 6 months later from when he wore it to the mass appeal. But we're like, man, how cool would that be if we have this really cool groundswell over something that someone sees Jason wearing in a big event or Min wearing, and you could buy it then. And so because we can react really quickly, because we can kind of business plan around a lot faster than the large tankers that these big brands are, we can deliver kind of product in real time to consumers that see something cool that they want. And so we're not slowing down with that. I think last time I looked, I think we had done 26 different LEs for Jason last year.
There's texting you all the time.
I'm sitting in my studio now, and I've got a box, and he's like, man, when do I get new stuff? I'm like, I'm not sending it to you, because the minute I send you things, you put it in play. Just like last year at Pebble, when he did the lost luggage with Malba on the head to toe sweatsuit, and he was wearing the mid, he was not supposed to wear that. That was like a month. He snuck it into his bag. It was a perfect outfit. Everything about it was perfect. So now I've learned that no matter what, if I send him something, I have to know that it's going to be put in play. So I've got I've got an entire part of my studio over here that it's Jason Day that I'm not sending yet.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so while we're still on the topic of talking about what these guys wear on tour, golf consumers in general are willing to just buy clubs from manufacturers solely based upon what the pros are playing. Everybody wants the newest driver that, Jason's hitting or that Scotty Scheffler's hitting and whatnot. Do you guys see that a lot in footwear as well? Like, are you guys seeking tour validation for the shoes, or are you guys designing shoes geared towards a specific audience that is a more general consumer, but it also happens to suit tour level players as well?
I think first and foremost, when Mike and I kind of sat down and put like this ethos, like what's Payntr Golf about? The number one thing is we will give the consumer a competitive advantage, no matter what we're doing. It could be a sock, headwear, golf gloves, anything. No matter what consumer, is the consumer's getting a competitive advantage from Payntr Golf. That was tried and true. No matter what, that's what we're going to do. So everything we do, we feel we have a competitive advantage there. And there's obviously things that we do at that top of spear, at the kind of the highest level of product that we do. We use carbon fiber versus our nylon 6 with our propulsion plate. So we do have some tiering within that, but it's all rooted in tech. It's all rooted in innovation. So it's hugely important, and that's not going away for us. We don't play at that big volume, lower, under $100 golf shoe. $130 is the cheapest golf shoe that we make, and that's not cheap. That is still super premium, and it's still filled with technology and going to give you that an advantage. And some of those places, like that's where we can introduce some more color and have a little bit more fun there with materials. But no, it's that consumer's competitive advantage. Like that is number one, the most important. So we wanted to make sure that doesn't change, and that's not changing. We're not going to play in that lower end where we could push a ton of volume. It's not worth us. We're a premium brand, and we're going to stay with that.
On that price point, it always makes me laugh when someone's not willing to pay $30-$40 more for something they're going to wear for X amount of rounds,
Yeah.
but they are willing to go pay for a nicer golf ball they're going to lose probably the next round.
Very, very fair. I think golf balls is it obviously makes a huge difference at certain levels.
Yeah.
But for the most of us, those middle of the road golf balls are maybe not a pinnacle, but other than that, I think they're all pretty good.
You're just going to get so much more return out of the footwear than you are the sleeve, right? And so it's okay to play a nicer ball, but like if you're going to do that, pony up some of the money to make sure that one of the most important parts of your game and the only part of your body touching the ground is taken care of as well.
Yeah, the minute the footwear is off, the angle's off, like doesn't matter how good your $1,000 driver is. If you're not, if you're not grounded, if you're not using those ground forces, if you're not, not leveraging all of those things that good footwear has. I mean, we've all seen it. I mean, especially you watch, how many times you watch the Open over there in bad conditions and seeing little slips and things happen. Like, if you got traction is so important. So
or the weather at Pebble this week looks.
I know. I saw yesterday.
I
think I saw Tommy Fleetwood hit a driver off off 6, and it hitting it 130 yards. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I watched Akshay hit a weird flop mini driver on 7.
I saw that too. Yeah,
that's what, like a 10 club wind.
Yeah, double-digit club winder. Those are tough.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what's coming next for Payntr, kind of the evolution. I think the biggest news that you guys have, even somewhat going on, announced last week, is 8 a.m. Golf purchasing an equity stake in Payntr. And I know some companies are looking for partners who can just open doors for them. Some are looking for other things. How do you guys see the partnership and the equity stake with 8 a.m. Working in the future for you guys?
Yeah, they've been incredible, and I think what's exciting with them and us is I think we're very like-minded, and they know that we're the experts when it comes to footwear, and nothing there is going to change. They finished our Class B raise, which is huge for us, and yeah, they're it's this wealth of golf knowledge and golf enthusiasts, and the creative team that they have there. It's just gonna help us, continue to expand globally and really tap into some really cool, fun projects with teammates that are on their team on the creative side. And so it's just a really cool marriage. And we get offers and people come to us all the time with things like that. And so just like our collaborations that we're doing, we have 6 collaborations that we're launching in 26. Some of them are known, some of them are not known yet. But for every one we accept, we turn down 10. And so just like with 8 a.m. coming on board and being an incredible resource for us, same with our collaborations, making sure it makes sense for them, for us, for both brands to continue what we're doing and get our product on more people's feet, help them play better, look better. So it's been awesome, and they're an incredible group, really successful guys over there. And so it's going to be it's been fun, and it's going to continue to kind of open doors across the board, and us being their first footwear brand is huge for them as well.
Yeah. Jumping into the footwear, I know we've got a new line of shoes and new products dropping in March. What type of problems are you guys looking to solve with this new line of shoes that you guys haven't solved in the past?
So I mentioned it briefly before, but when we started Payntr Golf, we were playing in this kind of performance silo, the sport performance silo. Our 001 was rooted in tech, had all those cool features and benefits, but it was playing in sports. So we had this bucket called performance, sport performance. And then when Jason Day came on board, we created this whole new silo called classic. And so classic sport. So we've got this performance sport, we've got this classic sport, but we thought there was a lot of little kind of gray area in the middle, and we call it our reserve line. And so the reserve line, it kind of teeters between both of those, but also that's where we put all of our collaborations as well. So within that reserve line, kind of the flagship, what Min's wearing now, is our Reserve Tour. It's a killer shoe. It has some nods to kind of tradition. and heritage. It's really clean, but also it's rooted in all that tech. We can bring some more color. We have some really cool models that price points are a little less in both spiked and spikeless. It's where we're over-indexing on women as well, where we have some just killer women's shoes, and we don't simply shrink it and pink it. We use our own midsoles for women. Think the female golfer is lighter, so you don't need that same hard foams, or propulsion plate can be a little softer, but still offer that energy return. So yeah, this whole new reserve collection that we have is really cool, and it kind of blends the best of both worlds. And again, we talked about how making sure that there's something for everyone. It's a perfect spot, and we're really, really proud of that. And I think the initial feedback, we launched men's shoe of the Reserve Tour at the PGA show. We had a big event, 300 people at Topgolf with media and influencers, and it was an awesome time to kind of to highlight our players coming on board and this whole new line that we were launching, and again, and then the collaborations that kind of fall under that. It just is a really cool new silo, a product that kind of helps to show our depth and everything kind of new and special that we're doing.
As a person who was at the event and has got my hands on a pair of them, they are phenomenal. They are
cool.
I think a lot of people have seen what your guys' lasts and the sizes of your shoes look like previously, but I think this is something that's a little bit different, a little bit more served for lack of a better term, the more traditional footwear. Wear. I think it's a more classic look that people are kind of looking towards. Hence the naming of it. So I think it'll be really exciting to see who's going to adopt this and decide to start wearing these now.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, and it's kind of a fun. It's a fun place, and you got a little snapshot of what our kind of Reserve SL and the Reserve RS, which is the spiked and spikeless version, where we can it's this traditional silhouette, but we bring in some neons, we bring in some color, so it's this kind of really cool, like old school meets all of our tech, but then amplified with fun colors. So yeah, we're really proud of it, and it's going to be a massive play, not only in North America, but our partners in Korea and Japan and Southeast Asia are kind of going wild for it as well. And so some great global appeal there.
Nice. Love it. Sounds like nothing but big things this year for Payntr. So we were super excited to have you on to talk about this, but we want to close out with one last little segment here. We're going to hit you with a little rapid fire, overrated, underrated on golf footwear technology, or I guess trends.
Love it.
So you can either hit me with is it overrated, underrated, or properly rated, and probably a quick snippet as to why you think that.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. For the first one, ultra soft cushioning.
Ultra soft cushioning is hugely overrated.
And why?
And so again, we're coming from a lens of a performance golf company. Super soft cushioning is amazing for walking the course, and so that's important. But again, from Payntr Golf, delivering enhancing product during the swing, when it's think of walking in the sand. And so if you're trying to push into sand, that's soft, very comfortable, but that energy return, that engagement from the ground up into your body, is you lose power. That energy, losing power, losing energy will cost distance. And so, although very comfortable and absolutely a huge fan of that, having a foam that balances comfort and performance is key, and that's exactly why we developed our Nitrogen Plus foam. So it's very, very soft walking, but the minute that foam is engaged, it becomes hard and rigid, and thus helping you leverage ground. So although great comfort check, a bit overrated.
I love it. Well, no, not a bit. You said hugely overrated, and I want you to stick to it. I love that.
I'll stick with it. Hugely overrated.
All right.
Now sandals on other sands.
Okay, the next one here, kilties.
Kilties, interesting. I can get in trouble for some of this. So, slightly overrated. I'm a fan. I think kilties are cool. And coming from designing baseball product for almost 20 years, yeah. I loved putting kilties on very cool modern baseball shoes as a designer. So I was a big fan of that. But in golf, I think right place, right time. How about that?
For sure. All right, a break-in period for shoes.
hugely underrated. And I think how many times have unbroken in golf footwear like crippled around? And I think instantly. And so we are very proud of the fact that we have very little to no break-in period for us. That is by intention and purpose. We don't need you to walk around in your shoes 5 hours that night before a boys' trip, going to somewhere, walking Bandon for, 36 a day. So I think it's hugely important. I think a lot has to do with the type of shoe, the type of product, leather, synthetic, but just making sure that those shoes don't cause those red spots, the hot spots, the blisters, is something that's super important to us. And so got to, look good, play good, but you got to have comfortable footwear. Key.
Shout out to a recurring guest on this pod, Jones. He is one of the guys that wears his golf shoes before the trip under his desk.
I get it.
Up to the trip.
I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys for sure. It's like a good pair of you throw on some Gucci's or some fancy dress shoes too.
Yeah.
You can't be on the dance floor with things that are going to break your feet.
You got to wear them around the house a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, the next one, BOA lacing systems.
Very interesting. So I will be neutral here. And so we have a ton of products, especially for our markets in Japan and Korea. I have worked with lacing systems in every sport for my entire career. I am a big fan for the right person and for the right type of individual and what they're looking for in their footwear. And science and work that we've done, it's very hard to get, and BOA is the company, so disc system lacing, it's very hard to get those shoes really tight, to be perfectly honest. And so they are great for ease of entry. They are great for popping on and off. They're great for kind of changing the dial system. But as a purist, nothing beats the ability to lace the shoe up exactly how you want it. If it's harder in the bottom, BOA is really great for consistent lacing throughout. But it's tricky if you only have one dial to tune that. So I think huge benefits depending on the individual. Extremely popular over in Japan and Korea for us. We have 27 Payntr Golf shoes with disc system lacing. And we sell one on our website in our payntrgolf.com in North America. One shoe, one for women. One for women's, one for men's, and we have almost 30 shoes that have it for our markets over in Japan and Korea. So it's super cool. It's super cool. Again, totally taste. I know golfers that barely tie their shoes, and I know guys that will tie them as tight as possible and will go through multiple laces. So, so I think right in the middle. I think it's a really cool
properly rated.
Yep, it's a really cool tech that some people love and it can help. But it's not for everyone.
Awesome. And then the last one here, leather automatically equaling premium in golf shoes.
If you were asked me this 10 years ago, I would say absolutely. But the innovation that's happened in synthetic leather has been pretty incredible over the last 10 years or so, especially over the last 5 years. But that there's huge benefits of both. So a really high-end microfiber synthetic, which we use on Jason Day's shoe, is top of the line that could be. What it doesn't have that leather does is leather stretches, and leather will morph to your foot really nicely. But a synthetic leather shoe won't stretch as much, which is in a lot of cases a good thing. That you don't have that shoe. You can either have a leather shoe that will kind of start to conform and shape to your foot, or you have a material that really keeps you locked in and feels consistent. But again, there's huge benefits of the leather when it comes to shaping of your foot, and that leather hand feel, and just that perception of performance and that smell. I mean, nothing beats a leather golf shoe when it comes to the smell, and you touch and you touch. And that's why we have about 35% of our shoes are leather. to 65 to almost 70 that are synthetic leather. And so both have, both have equal benefits, and both can be set up as waterproof. But yeah, there's something to be said about that beautifully crafted leather golf shoe that feels really pinnacle. And you see a lot of our classic and high end kind of traditional golf shoes that have come out, that will be coming out, that are playing in leather, and maybe some of our a little bit more sporty products is more based in that synthetic leather. So there's a place in golf for both of those, 100%, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, well, that wraps it up for that overrated, underrated segment. Mike, I want to thank you so much for hopping on with us today. Obviously, some huge things coming for Payntr this year. Obviously, some nuggets that you dropped along the way that we're going to be really excited to pay attention very closely to. Some moments throughout the year that we'll obviously be looking forwards to. But yeah, just wanted to thank you again for hopping on. Any closing words for the people at home? Anything you want to get out while we still have the podcast recording?
Yeah, no. First, thanks you guys. I'm a huge fan of you guys, and I love what you do, and great content. So it's just fun to chop it up for this last hour. And yeah, for anyone that doesn't know us, we're on a little bit of a rocket ship now, and so go give us a shot. We talk about it's really easy to get someone to buy something once, but to get someone to come out and do it over and over again, that's what we're the most proud of. And so I think we can sit here, and then the minute you put some Payntr product on, I think you're gonna head to the closet with that other golf footwear, and we feel strongly about that, and we're proud of that. Know what we put into it. It's worn by the best players in the world. It's tested by the best players in the world. We got a ton of experience doing that, and we're just kind of getting started. So appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. You heard it here, folks. Strap in, Payntr Golf to the moon, guys. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, cheers, guys.